I wake up every morning and I say to myself, "You darling person, what would you like to do today? Would you like me to buy you something, or would you like me to take you out to lunch?" Every day is a fresh start. Well, we had moved from our swanky apartment on Beekman Place in New York City, and it was actually where across the road was the mansion of Irving Berlin, and every year on his birthday, 300 people came and sang all his songs, and he lived to be 105. Now it's the consulate of Liechtenstein. We had moved to a very tiny town 2 hours up the Hudson River. It was called Hudson, and there were 66 antique dealers. So more or less everybody was gay. And I was always the queen of the gay pride parade after that. When we first attended a dinner, a guy stood up and said to my sort of Archie Bunker husband, "I would like to toast you as an honorary gay." My husband stood up and bowed and said, "Thank you very much. I feared the worst. I'm sure I would have been much happier." After that, we were very popular. We bought a very cute 1830 house in the center of town, gutted it, and I decorated it with all my early Farouk furnishings. It looked great. The only sadness was that I could never grow a decent lawn. There was a tree growing next door, and it blocked out all the sun. So although I seeded and fertilized and watered for 2 years, it was always moth-eaten. And so I went to Home Depot, and I wanted to buy bluestone to make a patio. But I needed a lot of bluestone, and it was very expensive. So I looked around, and I saw concrete blocks dyed blue to look like bluestone. And I put them on the floor of Home Depot, and I remembered an 18th century pattern that was in our backyard in England, and I put bricks around the concrete blocks. They thought I was nuts. Came home, got 2 guys to tear up my rotten lawn and set out a patio. It looked great. I bought 6 urns that I had, well, they were very cheap urns made in China, but they were copies of old English urns, filled them with flowers, and I had copies of the famous statues, winter, summer, fall, and what is the other one? Anyway, it looked beautiful, but there was something missing, a fountain. I love fountains, and I think every city in the world should have a fountain budget. I mean, we could do with more fountains in Sarasota and certainly in New York City. Anyway, the beauty of Versailles is that they had glorious fountains, all done before electricity with water pressure. And we went to Blackpool, a seaside town in England, every year, and they had beautiful fountains too. And the fountains in Blackpool danced to the Blue Danube and all sorts of lovely symphonic music. We stayed in a little hotel on the beach where the landlady was buxom and adorable, but she had a very strange son who had a sweet store on the pier. And one night, my brother and I went downstairs and broke into the cellar. It was like discovering Tutankhamun's tomb. We really couldn't believe all the sweets that we found down there. We ate ourselves silly on whipped cream walnuts, uppers and downers, dabs and suckers, jelly babies, licorice all sorts, chocolates of all kind, rocks, milky trays and Mars bars, and we went to bed feeling dreadful. We woke up the next day with a high fever. We learnt early that crime doesn't pay. Anyway, I couldn't find a fountain that I liked. I looked all over until one day I saw in an antique dealer's garden a beautiful old fountain made of white stone. It had a little naked boy holding a jar, and water came tumbling out. I thought, my God, that must be $10,000. But I asked anyway. He said 9. I thought, yes, of course, it's 9,000. He said, no, 900. It's made of fiberglass. So now I have my own Versailles.